mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't living this.
What's up, and welcome to another exciting episode of Ride the Rebellion podcast. I'm your host, Drew Hall. With me, as always, is the king of the world traveling tour in the Southeast, Dale Boyd of Dale Boyd's Magic Bike Circus.
Hey, you guys might have been wondering where we've been, and you've seen some of us out and about, but I just did the math, and my wife has done the math a few times. Out of the last 21 days, I've been gone 13 of them.
Good grief.
For
bro.
work or for biking or work
Yeah.
and biking.
Yeah, we know that we posted a old episode rehash. We thought it was a good one. It's a
Speaking
early
of hash.
episode. Yeah, speaking of hash, yeah. That's good. Well done, Dale. Just because we've been so busy. It has been a very busy year work-wise, very busy bike-wise. It's been busy across the board. So
And
thanks for
campaigning. We've
been campaigning.
That's
If you
where
guys
we've
haven't
been,
heard. Yeah.
on the road campaigning the
Right.
whole time.
Yeah, and there's been it's interesting when you run a campaign and you have people that want you to not recall, that's motor stuff. I've had broken cars, I've had all kinds of crap, but what do they want us to recant? No, retract. They want us to retract statements. Well, I will not retract any statements, and in fact, I'm doubling down. I'm doubling down on all my statements, all of them, push-ups.
I'm just super stoked
Trail
that people are taking our campaign so seriously.
It's the best.
That's what I think is hilarious. I mean, I'm happy our valued listeners are taking our campaign very seriously, and I can't wait to see you on election day, Drew, when we're waving flags and
It'll be November 12th.
kissing babies' butts and stuff, whatever we got to do to get elected.
On November 12th.
On November 12th.
Actually, we should have said January 6th.
Oh, God, that's too deep.
Just go
Too soon.
Straight for the jugulars of the world. There's been a ton of events that have happened, and we can't comment on them all. I heard that the Sorba Summit was a blast up in Birmingham. Heard people had a really good time. From what I saw, too, it looked like people had a good time. We may, get a little update from Eric Hagen at some point, just because I know he was there. But there was other events going on, as you guys know, a couple of things. One, we'll talk about just quick highlights of that, and then we'll get on to our question of this episode, which our question, to tee it up first and let you guys think about what your answer might be. What is the one mountain biking accessory? And I'm not talking about tires, something that's important for your bike. An accessory could be something that it's not necessary for you to ride, but you like to have. So it could be that you really feel like you need a red stem or whatever, but you don't necessarily need it. So it is going to be whether it's aesthetic or functional, it is not something that is 100% necessary for riding. What's your one accessory? That's our topic. That's what we're going to talk about. But first, let's talk about some of these events. We obviously had the Sorba Summit we mentioned. We had Jagrundi Jubilee. I'll let Dale talk about that a bit. We also, at the same time as the Sorba convention, was the world famous Roller Coaster of Love Bike Fest over in Boca Chica. Dale was able to attend that. I was not, because I was coming off of a very long shoot. I don't know how Dale did it either. I'm sure he'll give us an update. So we'll talk about those bits. So let's start with Jagrundi. That is an insane idea, which is to say, this is a festival, quote. It's really just a hangout. How did that go? What was the takeaway on that stuff?
I'm going to speak for everybody that was involved and say that it was way better than we expected.
Right.
Like, we didn't know whether it was going to be 20, 50, or 100 people, and we got the top number, I think. So I think over the weekend, there was so much energy and so much excitement at the stockyard. And I felt so happy for Jody. Like, there's people in and out of the shop. There's people in and out of his house taking dumps. There's people in and out of everywhere, just doing everything all over the property. And everybody has a smile on their face, and everybody's hanging out and having fun and getting to meet other people because there's from different regions. We had people from Baton Rouge, two groups from Baton Rouge that didn't know each other, met each other there, which was pretty sweet. Somebody from Daytona, Florida came, and he is a straight ripper. I
hope he's okay, by the way, with all the storm stuff.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Dylan. That kid can ride, and actually I think he's going to ride for BTR, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great.
So we got that guy going on. We got somebody from Tallahassee. We had some people from all over Alabama, somebody from Tennessee. So for that small thing to just pop off like that, it turned out to be really, really cool. And and we just had fun. And you asked me what we did, and I'll tell you, we just rode our bikes, and everything else that happened there is you had to be there.
Right.
I'm sorry. So that's how those events kind of work.
No, but I think the joy of it was a reminder of like not why we ride our bikes, but one of the functionalities of riding our bikes, which is hanging out. Like you ride your bike, whether it's for exercise or fun or both. But also the joy of hanging out comes with that. And we've talked about it on this channel ad nauseum, community. And that's a great example of a community driven event by, you know, they happen to be one of our sponsors. Yes, but they're a sponsor because we only take sponsorship from people or ideas or locations that we actually like. So again, if you've never been to the Stockyard, worth going to the Stockyard just to experience.
The thing that I want to add to it is like we talk about community about it, and like Jody is about community, like that's what drives him. And there's different types of community within the mountain bike community, right? Like we are an older group of community people. We are 40 plus guys,
right?
You know, so we want to hang out with like people. Jody is obviously our age bracket, but he has a enduro race team, so he has those kids running around, and they kind of hung out by themselves, and that's cool. And you know, we talked to them a little bit, rode with them a little bit, and their energy keeps our energy up, so it's valuable. But these groups can coexist, right? And they don't have to be one. So we can talk about community and be in the same place as another community and not necessarily have to support that other community. Does that make sense? Like,
no, 100%.
I'm not like, I get it. I'm a 40-year-old dude. I want to ride with 40-year-old dudes. I don't want to ride with kids. No offense. That's just not my thing.
Right. Because they should be on the trails doing work.
But that's not, I mean, that's not my thing. So for people to say that we don't support that community is baffling. Like we can coexist. Like you don't support my wife the way I support my wife because it's my wife.
Right.
I support her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, hey, shout out to everybody that makes the Jagrundy happy and fun, and we are coexisting and being cool, and it was rad. It was a great environment, and I look forward to more events like that. And I think to tee up the next Roller Coaster of Love,
that's a prime example.
Yeah, it was.
Talk about another community. That's a whole other set of riders.
Yeah, and that Roller Coaster of Love was more intense because there was racing involved.
Yeah,
but it's laid back racing. Like we weren't. I raced the enduro race, and I didn't know. I was just signed up just to support them, and when the racing gets going, you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely doing this. But it was a blast. You know, there's guys they're taking serious, there's guys not, and the way that the Roller Coaster of Love has developed, and I've been there for the last 3, I think, or 4. Has there been 4, Toby?
I think it's 3.
3. So I've been there for the last 3. The way that it's developed and what he has done and Norba has done at that trailhead is amazing. We talked about it, and there was so many people there, but there's no place on the planet that you can literally have every event start at the trailhead and work its way around the trailhead. We literally just took our chairs from our tent to the dual slalom race, which was fantastic, and the course was amazing. Shout out to all the trail builders that helped get that ready. And people that aren't trail builders that were just there helping get it ready.
Right.
They had that. So then you move from that, you move to the pump track. You move there, and then there's a band playing the whole time. And then you move from there, and the lights come on, and a DJ comes out, and you're doing the jump line, the jump contest. And it's just all right there, and all the energy's there, and it never leaves. And no place can replicate that I know of. I mean, not in the Southeast for sure.
No, 100%. And I think the thing to mention on that side of it is like, if you guys have not experienced Toby, 2 ways to experience. 1, by going to Boca Chico and getting lucky that he's there. 2 is obviously commercial here for a second, is taking classes with Summit Bike Academy, which you can now go to summitbikeacademy.com to sign up for it, or Shred with Summit. Either way. But point being is like, if you haven't experienced Toby, you can see that this guy, he walks the walk, talks the talk, and lives it. He literally wants to make that place the most fun place that he can think of. And he travels around and gets ideas and builds on it. We've seen that same thing evidenced, next commercial, in the fact of that same vibe exists at Lincoln Parish Park. If you go ride the hub, if you get a group of people up there, the town's cool. There's beer, there's fun, there's good pizza. But more importantly, the riding up there for a day session is a blast. And it's the same thing. You start at a hub, just what Toby did in Boca Chico, and you come out of the hub. And whether you're hitting those big jumps or you're just hitting the flow lines, everybody meets and they can all reconvene right at the top. Absolutely. And it is very, very, very much, Toby has community-minded content or development in mind when he builds these pieces. And I think that's a huge takeaway. What was the outstanding sort of event, or what stood out to you the most at the Roller Coaster of Love this year?
Roller Coaster of Love raises the bar every year. Yeah. Every year I'm just blown away. And last year they had one of the world's best flatland Red Bull riders there. This year we're getting the world's best trio behind bars. Yeah. I mean, those kids are just every year I've watched them grow kind of at that event, and they're just so good. Yeah. And they've been all over the world now, and being able to see them live, it's funny because I saw them playing around like off their bikes.
And they're still kids.
Yeah, they're kids. You're like, damn, I forgot. They're just like throwing rocks at each other and doing whatever. And I'm like, oh God, they're still kids. Like, it's still amazing though, watching them backflip and 360 and throw tail whip 360s. And the great thing about the jump contest this year, some other kids brought BMX bikes. I think they're friends with them, came from Florida, but they're throwing everything too. And like, so there was more than just them, you know. It was like, wow, other people are doing backflips and stuff. So that was pretty rad. I think that was a highlight for like the whole event, you know, like getting to see those people do that stuff that other people cannot do. But for me, it was just, I got to hang out with a bunch of people that I know online that I don't know him. You know, I haven't got to hang out with in person. And the same thing happened to Grundy. I know Marcus, shout out Marcus up in Coldwater, does a ton of stuff for Coldwater, but I don't get to hang out with him that much. And like, he hung out with us all day and that kind of stuff. And then, you know, Chris Pennington, shout out Chris. You'll, if you're listening, I hope, but he went to both events and I hung out with him at both, and he's from Baton Rouge. So, and just getting to hang out with people that you know online, but you don't know. And that part is unreplicatable.
Yeah, well, it's making it real again, though. I mean, I think that's the whole thing is those events make it real and make it a real thing. And speaking of those events, we're happy to announce that Jank Fest 2 Electric Boogaloo is in the processes of happening. If you guys, we're going to do something different, a little bit different, because we got to state some rules here, which there's nothing crazy. I'm not throwing you under the bus, but
I was like,
I could feel him staring at me.
I was like,
no, but as you guys know, it is an invite only. It's not invite to be exclusive. It's invite because we only have so much space in which we can accommodate that. And we want to make sure that we're being fair to, you know, the previous attendees, but also anything else. So we are currently compiling our list of who wants to come hang out. If you would like to come to the event, it is more or less free. Now, it is a completely donation-driven concept. Like, we have a box, we have Venmo, you can throw money our way. We're always grateful. That exists because we don't make you guys pay for food. We don't make you pay for entry fees. There's a race. There's a prestige race, if you will. You get a golden Reb Ho axe gimmick. But there's that, and then there's hangout. There's a nighttime. It's an event, right? But it's also a community-driven thing, and it's our way of saying thank you to not only our podcast listeners, but also to the community in general. So if you would like to attend, again, it's not necessarily a lottery. It may become one based on the numbers, but if you would like to attend, all you got to do is shoot an email. You want to do the email, right? Over anything else, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
An email to Ride the Rebellion. Is it Ride the Rebellion?
Oh, no.
Shit, I don't even know.
They could just message us on social media.
Yeah, just hit us up on social media. Just make sure in the post you say, I want to come to Jank Fest, so we understand that, and we'll start putting stuff together. But you can message us on Facebook, Instagram. I think it's rather, anyway, I'll put it in the show notes. Whatever the correct email address, it'll be in the show notes. So if you guys would like to attend, please tell us where you're from, or put in the subject line, or at least tell us you want to go to Jank Fest and tell us where you're from. That only helps us understand, like, wow, look at all those different groups coming in. That's pretty cool. Is that going to skew your chances? Maybe. If it's just 600 Mobilians, that's fine too. We don't really care. But if you do that, you have an opportunity to attend Jank Fest. Again, it's free. There's camping, or if not, there's plenty of Airbnbs, hotels. It's where we are located is very central. I think Jody learned that last time.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get around where we are. It's not quite like Jagrundy or Bogachido, where you're kind of removed. Mm-hmm. We have access to a lot more amenities, if you will.
Yeah. It's December 6th through the 8th.
And there's the dates.
Yeah,
December 6th through the 8th. And we'll post more as we go along. Just wanted to talk about that. All right, so let's get on to our topic so that we can kind of zero in on what we're doing here. We're streamlining for you guys and gals and folks out there. Our topic was, what is the one mountain bike accessory that's not necessary? You don't have to have it to ride your bike, but you do feel like it enhances your riding or adds to your riding or makes your riding better? That's the question. I don't know if you guys have one. If you have one of these and you hear what our answers are, great. But if you have your own, please make sure you throw it in the comments. And possibly for that, do you want to do? Are we doing any kind of givey?
Sure.
Yeah. So throw yours in there.
Comment on the video on this post of that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, on social media.
And then comment on social media, and we'll pick a name as we randomly do. Send you a shirt. Hey, look at you. Shirt, I assume.
Yep.
Great. And then look out for some other deals going along. All right. So there it is, Dale. I'm gonna let you kick yours off. What is your number one or the only? Because we're not going to go into a big rampage here. What is your accessory that you feel like you have to have?
I have a few, but I'll keep it to one.
Just to one.
So the one thing that I'm weird about is I have to have my GPS.
Yeah.
Whether it's my watch or my bike computer, which I don't use anymore, just my watch. But I've gone to a race and my computer was dead, and it just ruined the whole ride. And why? I don't know. And people are going to be mad. I get it. But that's just something I want to know how I did statistically on especially a race. Like where were my efforts and where was I lacking or heart rate and everything.
Fairness, though, most of these race events, they give us just times. It's not like we can get the stats. So if you actually care about statistics and that is something that's interesting to you, it's very interesting. Ours is going to overlap slightly, but is that I can't argue against that. I would like to know. It's not just the time. I want to know how I did individually and looking at my own metrics.
Certain spots where I'm deficient, like maybe I need to be a better climber, or maybe I need to do this or that, or even now I'll gauge like, am I done or not? Like physically, oh, look at my GPS. No, I'm not done. I got to keep going. Right. And like if I don't know the mileage, I would have quit a long time ago on a lot of rides. So I don't know.
Certainly during the summer, I feel like it gets crazier because you're so much hotter. You burn so much more energy that we'll look down at the top of the hill and be like, dude, we're only at 3 miles.
I quit. There's a beard between me and the trail, and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think having that is good motivation. It's interesting you say that because mine actually is my watch, but paired with my heart rate monitor.
Yeah.
Not because I'm chasing XC, but for me, I like to have those stats. But it's a bigger thing for me to understand where my training is going, because as I've talked about, I'm not training for a race. I'm not training for an event. I'm training for my own health. But at the same time, I have found that when I started tracking those metrics and I started looking at that, like increasing my VO2 max and getting looking where my heart rate drops and that stuff. Yeah. First off, it gave me some health indications when I was having some health problems that we've solved now, luckily. But secondly, it was also interesting to see that my riding keeps getting better because I have a benchmark in which I want to achieve.
That's right.
And it's not just speed or whatever else. For me, I want to see my heart rate stay at a certain level. I want to maintain that. And so even when I go to the gym, which I get up early as hell, I go to gym at 3:40 in the morning. I know that I'm going to do cardio for 30 minutes because it's going to affect my riding. And then I do my weightlifting. But even that stuff matters to me. And I think across the board, it's crucial. So for me, it is definitely, I guess I could say it's GPS.
Yeah.
But it's also the idea.
I use my watch more for running. Like I do every day after I run, I look at my statistics for running because I need to know, like, why did I feel like this? And dude, it's crazy. And we sleep with our watches on. So like our HRV, like it's a real metric of your life. Like I'll have a bad HRV the day before I get sick. Yep. And it's like I'll pop some emergency now and I'm good. Usually, like if I feel like fatigued or something before I'm sick, I can take it. It's so valuable, and the technology is getting so good.
But I also feel like I think to a lot having that data, and again on my side of it is like Bogachito riding there is similar to what we have, but different enough.
Right.
I want to make sure that I'm capable. I'm not talking about bike skills. I'm talking about physically capable of going over there and having a good time. When I go out of town, if we travel, for work or if it's with my family and I go out of town, I want to be able to go ride those trails knowing that I'm not going to ride 3 hours or an hour and be gassed. Yeah. I want to make sure I get my value out of it because my time is so precious. So cross training for me is to say I want to ride more.
Oh, wait, you mean you don't have to just buy an e-bike?
Yeah, right.
You can actually get in shape.
Yeah.
That's not a hat. I love e-bikes.
Now I have one.
There's
no
sale,
by the way. Nobody's looking for an e-bike. I'll sell mine really cheap. Especially this year.
No shade on e-bikes. I rode one at Jagrandi, and I was the first time on a trail, and I was so happy. But there is a way. It's similar to like, well, I need a carbon bike because I got to shave weight. Well, you can also lose weight physically.
Now, it's interesting you bring that up because I was talking to, I think it was Chris on Sunday. Shout out Chris T. But like we were having a conversation. He was asking me, I brought the Gorilla Gravity back from the dead. I had, it's all fixed.
Just the bike, not the company.
No, fuck no. That company's done. But I did bring the bike back from the dead and I rode it. And I was telling you this too. It was like, it's like riding a snowplow down, right? I have got the confidence to hit any drop or jump, but it's not as much fun to pedal now that I've ridden something that's built for like true all mountain riding with my Ibis. And so I'd started looking at, can I just buy an Ibis frame? And I'm like, yeah. And my current Ibis is the Ripley AF because I just don't feel like I need the carbon. The weight difference is not enough for me to matter. I'm not racing. I don't care. But then I started looking, the cost differential between a carbon and an aluminum frame is like $1,500.
Yeah.
Alone.
Just
you can buy an entire, for me, I was looking at Ripmo. So the idea would be is I would have an enduro bike and the other, and maybe that's redundant. I don't know. If anybody got both, tell me if it's worth it or not. But and looking at for $1,500 freaking dollars, or the difference, I could buy a brand new, fully built out AF model, fully built, and just change parts over for $2,200 versus $3,500 for a built out.
I mean, that carbon does ride a little different because it flexes different. Yeah. It is what it is. Like,
well, I have carbon wheels, and I miss my aluminum wheels. When I rode the Gorilla Gravity, it has the aluminums on it. They used to have the We Are Ones. It's so not stiff.
Right.
Those carbon wheels are so stiff that you're just bouncing around, and it's just, again, if I did it again, I probably wouldn't have done that. I'm on you and I'm talking.
Yeah. Well, I'm throwing this out there because I think this is an accessory that it has grown with my riding is I need friends with me.
That's look at you.
Like I used to want to ride alone, only exclusively. And I do ride alone now when I'm just trying to get it in and get it done. But the longer that I ride, the more, like if I show up to a trailhead, I have all my bike, I have my Garmin, I have everything's good, and no one else is there. It's just like a mood killer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but it's like, I need people with me, and I don't need them for motivation. I don't need them to hold the camera because I have a tripod because, I'm only doing it for the videos.
That's right.
But I just need them there to like talk to or to like be around, or it's just more fun. Everything's more fun with people.
No, I can't argue that point. I think
except for trail building, I like to do that alone.
That's so I'm with you on that. There's times that I do enjoy like my long solo rides. Most of the guys here, it's not in the culture down here to do these long solo rides, like urban rides, like I like to do
in our culture.
Yeah.
Because there is some of those dudes out there. They just do it alone. You just don't know.
That's right. Because we're all loners. But that's also like for me, that's a therapeutic thing. So there's times that my job is managing people day in and day out. So there's times where I don't need it. But then there's been times where clearly my mood was offset and you've called me and been like, hey bro, what's going on with you? I haven't seen, like whatever. I would just ghost out or just vanish for a while. And so I think there is value in that too, is building on. So really the ultimate accessory really is friends. I could ride without my heart rate monitor and all that shit. But yeah, at the end of the day, that's a good point to make. It's a fair statement to make.
That's why we have events. That's why we have all this stuff, is just to, to get people together.
Yeah.
Like I love introducing people that don't know each other that are from the same area, because then it's like, wow, you guys could have been dating this whole time.
Wasn't there like
physically?
Yeah, but isn't there like a couple you met up in that's from Baton Rouge? They didn't know somebody else.
Yeah, that Jagrundy. Yeah. So I think they had been in the same area, but now they hang out. Like they were hanging out at Bug Chitta. So
that's so fun.
Shout out Joe, Jennifer, and Chris. It's pretty cool.
That's fun stuff.
I've always said I'm like the I have more talents that can't make money.
You just have to figure out how to monetize them. Let me switch into heritage mode.
I'm broke hit.
You what?
I'm broke hit. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so I think that's our take on it. That's where we're at. I think Dale's final answer is the best answer, but the reality of it is we both feel like if we're talking about a widget, not a person, I think if we approach it that way, I think the two of us both agree that, at the end of it, the people are better. Definitely make it better. Not all the time, but I think enough to make it work. And that's kind of where it rolls. So did you want to talk about your $20 thing?
$20 is $20.
$20 is $20.
No, I'll put it online. I'll put it on the group. Hey, I'm going to throw something out on the group. Be ready for it because I think some of y'all are going to be excited about it.
Yeah.
At least to keep it guessing.
Yeah, that's good. So, like I said, we're keeping these non-interview episodes short. We have some cool interviews coming up. We're working on one still.
Very rad.
We've teased it. We've talked about it. We really want to get this sports helmet guy on so bad, and we're working on it. We have some other interesting people. I know that
Bentonville people,
some Bentonville folks. I know that we also talked to there was some kickback, just being candid. I don't give a shit, but there was kickback on some of our statements about kids working on trails and all that stuff. And we're going to have somebody on to
feel attacked. Maybe it is.
Yeah. Let them express their opinion. I expressed mine and they have a right to express theirs. This is not
maybe we'll have a Fox Factory guest soon.
Yeah, well, that's a technical. You're technically
hey, you never know.
Technically correct. And so we'll put stuff together like that. So with that said, just remember what Dale Boyd says.
I'll get your shoes at Run and Try and your tattoos at Man of War Tattoo. Thank you.
Well done.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving